Assalamu alaikum ji. Welcome all of our audience today for the live webinar sessions that we have set up as an initiative of IGI Holdings. I want to thank all of you who have joined us for this session, and also would be looking forward to your attendance in the future sessions, inshallah, that we will hold. If you can go to the next slide, please. Usman, next slide, please. Okay. Before we start, just a few housekeeping rules for all of us. As a moderator, I will be engaging with all the panelists on the area of focus, areas of discussion. And as audience, you are allowed to submit all your questions online via the Zoom messaging tool. The audience Q&A session will be held at the end of the webinar, where the moderator will ask, or myself, I'm going to be asking the selected questions from the panelists, obviously because of the time that we have at hand. And the slides and recording will be sent out within 24 hours of the webinar to all the email registered attendees. And the recordings will also be available on our websites post the webinar has been conducted. So, I would request that, in case you have missed out on attending our sessions while we are live, you're most welcome to sort of join us to see the recordings of the sessions afterwards. In case you face any technical difficulties during the webinar, unfortunately, you will have to reach out to the Zoom Help Center because we are using Zoom as a tool for running these webinars. So if you can move on, Usman. Just a little bit about the webinar sessions that we plan to do. This is our first batch of live webinars that we will inshallah be conducting over the next 6 to 8 weeks. The whole purpose of going through these sessions was to sort of create a bonding and engagement with you as our partners, as our customers, as our providers of services, for example, to let you know exactly what we are going through as a company. We also wanted to share with you our experiences, our knowledge that we have gained over the last 45 to 60 days of this challenging lockdown. And while we cannot cover everything in 1 hour, we will try to sort of hone in on some of the more important aspects of each of the topic that we're going to be covering. So for example, the first one today is about motor. So we'll try to talk about some things that have impacted us majorly during this time. One of the sessions, the next one is on investment. That's happening Monday. We will have external panelists who would provide you with their expert opinion. Similarly, we have another session happening on property. That's going to be end of next week. And then after Eid, we have sessions on health, life, and also, on the resources and the business continuity. Today's session primarily is, being run by our colleagues at IGI, but most of these sessions happening going forward will have external experts and participants. So there will be a lot to learn and share from their expertise as well. So if you can just go to the next one, please. I just want to sort of introduce the panelists. First of all, thanking all of them to have taken the time to join us. I'll start off with an intro about Tahir Masood. Tahir Masood is our CEO of IGI General Insurance, and also supporting us in our day-to-day in driving the business on a day-to-day basis. Mr. Hisham is the regional head here in Lahore, and he's also looking after certain product lines, including agri, travel, and crop. Dr. Amjad is our regional head based out of Islamabad, and has a lot of rich experience of working in the industry, mainly with IGI. Asad Ali Siddiqui, he is the regional head for our South region. And he is basically the driving force behind the business that is being generated in the South. Usman Khalil, he's heading our IGI Drive, the tracking division, and he will share some of his thoughts on how we are trying to get ready for the way things are going to pan out going forward in the future. Major Ikram, he is actually heading our security, again from IGI Drive, just to share with you what kind of things we have gone through during these lockdown days, and some experiences that we can share during this time. So before I go forward, I would just like to request our CEO Tahir Masood to have to share a couple of to share his thoughts initially before we can actually delve into the core content. Tahir sir.
Thank you, Numan. And thank you, everyone. Hello and Assalamu alaikum. I'm grateful that all of you have joined, and I can see from the participant list that it is growing every second. So we are grateful to all of you who are present and who have taken the time out to discuss the issues of insurance and motor insurance in particular with us. Again, my gratitude and thanks to the team who has made it all, made it all happen. This is just another gesture from our side to show that while we might not be able to physically get in touch with our customers, we are there for them, and we are available through various channels, through phone lines, through WhatsApp, and through our sales team, through all our online medium. And the fact that, despite the offices being closed, we are working as usual. The claims are being settled as they should be. We are issuing policies. We have the system in place to issue policies which are accepted by the bank as genuine documents. We have a portal available where our partners like banks and embassies for travel insurance, they can verify that the documents issued are actually from us, the genuineness of the documents. So I believe that as a company, we have shown the resilience that was required during this pandemic, and the fact that we are here for our customers, and we will continue to serve our customers to the best of our abilities. This webinar is another small cog in the same wheel. We again, we'll discuss a lot of different issues, from the security of the vehicles to what our IGI Drive initiative is doing at the moment, how we are coping with the with the influx of claims, and what do we see the future of motor insurance as we go along. So thank you, Numan. I believe it's going to be an informative session. I hand it over back to you, Numan, to take us forward through the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tahir sir. If Usman, if you could just move on to the next slide, please. Just for your information, we are streaming live as of now through Zoom, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And we are looking forward to you joining us during these, through these platforms. And as I said earlier, even if you have missed the live stream, the recordings are always available for you to go through. Next, please. All right, so motor insurance impact that we have seen, during the lockdown. In fact, I think the impact on motor insurance, started to become visible for the insurance industry even before COVID-19. And I think the insurance industry has been impacted negatively by the lack of sales, or the lack of issuance of new policies, primarily which happens through the banks, because the production itself, if I look at it on a year-on-year basis, as of April, it was an over 50% decline in sales. So the insurance industry itself has had its fair share of being impacted by by the slackness in sales of new vehicles. Um, Generally speaking, this particular market already the ratio of our insurance penetration is extremely low. And when it comes to motor, although it's one of the larger lines in general insurance, the penetration is still extremely minimal when it comes to comprehensive insurance. And primarily, the insurance is driven by a mandate by most of the banks, and that's where volumes are driven from. Individual business is next to nothing, I would say. There is corporate business, obviously, present, and we'll share with you what kind of challenges we've gone through with that. So, the business itself, as I said, was going through a tough time, and when COVID-19 hit us, the business kind of plateaued. If I quote Dawn of day before yesterday, there was zero new sales of motor. Okay, so that would tell you the kind of shock that is hitting the insurance industry, which is mainly looking at motor insurance as a cash driver, and also looking at it from supporting the business as a large line of business. So this particular lockdown, the sales we have seen have been next to nothing, as I said. Even it has impacted our renewals. So it's not just the new sales that have been impacted. The economic downturn has impacted people's pockets and their decision of renewing their vehicles going forward for the next year. And we've tried to sort of reach out to all these customers through various means and mechanisms, and I think we've been successful to a certain extent. But the impact of the lockdown and this challenge is far beyond any of our imagination, or for that matter, for any company's planning. In the past. Just for information, motor normally is considered as a substantial line, and it contributes to over 25% of the total general insurance premiums. So hence, for the overall industry, the impact is on overall basis negative. The contribution of motor varies from company to company. So in some certain cases, the motor portfolio may be higher than 30% or 40%, but generally this is a large line of business, hence the impact is also large. If I can go over to the next slide, please. So, on just on that intro, I would like to sort of, address some of the areas that we have, we have witnessed and we have gone through, we have experienced. And sales obviously is the driving, force behind this line of business. So, from a sales perspective, I want to reach out to my colleague Hisham, who heads, the region based out of Lahore, to seek his feedback and share his and let him share his experience on when he sees the sales for motor to start picking up. If he has something in mind on that, Hisham.
Thank you, Noman. First of all, congratulations on this great initiative to bring all of us together on this platform while we were away from work. In fact, what I foresee is that with this ease of lockdown, which has already started, the sales will gradually pick up starting from the months of June and July. And the other aspect which is going to help the industry is easing of the interest rates, which have gone down from 13% to 9%, and we expect a further slash down on the policy rates in coming days. So both of these factors are going to really help picking the sales up. And as in 2019, we saw that the production of cars was about close to 300,000 units that were produced in 2019. So we expect that the production number is going to go down by about 10 to 15%. Uh, the industry is going to be impacted, insurance especially, in terms of the overall numbers. But I think that there is still light at the end of the tunnel. And we can see these new models of the vehicles coming up, especially Toyota has launched its new Yaris, which is going to help the sales pick up. And also the new models of Kia, which we have seen in last 6 months, have gained a huge popularity, especially the Sportage version. So I think that this all is going to help us in sales. And Q3 and Q4 hopefully will be much better than Q4 of last year and Q1 and Q2 of the current year.
Great, thank you. And I think, as they say, every cloud has a silver lining. So I think the silver lining that I can sense out of that conversation now is that the interest rates have gone down, and the new models are coming up. And obviously, I'm sure people have actually been holding on to spending for so long. So, we are hoping, we are very positive that things will turn out better, in the future. One of the things that, I just shared earlier as well, before, when we started, is banks drive most of the business for motor insurance. And when it comes to banks, the prime business that motor insurance brings in from the banks is driven by rent-a-car business. Okay, so the economic activity has been impacted quite a lot, and it has impacted every sector, and similarly for the rent-a-car business as well. So I wanted to reach out to Dr. Amjad, based out of Islamabad, to sort of share with us, how does he foresee the future of motor insurance when it comes to the rent-a-car business? Do we think that this business flow from this particular segment is going to go down? Because as we all know, sitting down in the insurance industry, that this is one of the most challenging risks to underwrite when it comes to motor insurance. Hence, it's important for us to understand, how do you think, or Dr. Saab, how do you think that this business will be impacted?
Thank you very much, Numan. And I must congratulate to you and your team, and definitely the overall support from the CEO of IGI Drive, that we have started this initiative, and I wish that it goes very successful in all its sessions, and we continue such programs, and this will be our, I would say, an edge on the rest of the insurers in the market. Now, coming to your question, let me clear one thing, which I feel that I should also share with the audience and yourselves. And I usually go to customers, especially to the corporate clients, and I often use the sentence with them that banker is their partner when they are having the prosperous time, and the insurance is their partner, and insurance come forward when they have their rainy seasons. So unfortunately, nowadays the rainy season is there because of this pandemic across the world and across the Pakistan. And insurance industry is also the industry which is a part of the international business circle. So this whole circle is affected, and definitely the insurance business is not an exception. Within insurance industry, if we see, this pandemic so far has affected the consumer side a lot to me, because major renewal time for the other businesses is June and then in December. And now we are almost closer to the June, and we will foresee how we can deal with the corporate clients. But the most of the time that have past and we are now experiencing that the consumer side is affected. And the first more hit is to travel insurance, and the next hit to motor insurance. And coming to your specific question of rent-a-car business, there is a very small portion of the business most of the company does in motor insurance. If we see the total motor insurance business is 25 to 30% in the total premium of Pakistan, and it will be not more than 20 to 23 billion rupee motor insurance business. But the part of rent-a-car business is very smaller, and most of the companies, this segment is not their preferred segment. Let me now, if I can categorize this rent-a-car business, in my opinion, there are 3 to 4 categories, and every insurer has its own priorities to write this business. The category wise are this on the selected categories. Like one is the individual business that is being run as a rent-a-car. So in this business, individual people, they buy or purchase the car, mostly the Suzuki variant or the Toyota, and they put it on intercity and intracity rent-a-car business. And mostly they disguise themselves, they get the insurance, and they don't let the people know that you will use this car as a rent-a-car. So that businesses or that segment is not preferable to us, and even other companies also do not go for this segment. The second category which I use is the 2 or 3 or 4 partners. They get hands joined together and they start their rent-a-car business by having 4, 5 to 10 vehicles, and they prefer to convince their other friends and other people to invest with them so that they could start the business and they can earn more. And similar, the usage of the cars is the same, the intercity and the intracity. They even give the cars to people and they use their own drivers and their own. In such cases, again, the risk is very high and the chances of theft and snatch and other claims are very high. And third is the banca and the leasing companies. So major chunk of the business when we pick from the banks and the leasing companies. So again, you never know how much business will be of a rent-a-car business from that chunk. But we write that business. So when claims comes and with the frequency of the claims, it appears to the insurers that this business this particular variant of the car is being used as a rent-a-car, so that they can determine. But the insurers write that business. They cannot say that we are not going to write it because they go for the whole portfolio. And in the whole portfolio, the minor portion of the rent-a-car is also there. So we at IGI is doing that business, and mashallah, we are not hit much as other people are getting hit in the past or in the present, because we go by a research-based motor insurance business, and we do surveys, we do properly engage our in-house surveyors and all. Then the fourth category is the pure rent-a-car business registered companies. And in those businesses, the cars are either provided to foreign missions or embassies or MNCs or other companies, big companies. So this trend is very popular in Pakistan, especially in Islamabad. So that business is not, I would say, a loss-making business. But in these pandemic conditions, all these businesses have affected a lot. Because when you operate your own company and registered as a rent-a-car business, but due to cash flow issues, you don't buy the cars or vehicles on cash basis. You do go buy for lease or for the banks, and you have to pay rentals. So in these circumstances, so due to cash flow issues, because their vehicles are laid up, not used for different customers, so they are facing cash flow issues, and the vehicles are not being used, and their profitability is quite hit in Pakistan, in Islamabad. And I was just reading yesterday, a very big company of US, Hertz, that has just fired 10,000 employees from the
Right.
jobs
So,
because
so
of
if I
this.
so if I understand you correctly, Dr. Saab, so that we can sort of close this question here, is that yes, you do believe that sales will be impacted, with the categories that you've shared. Some of these categories, because of the cash flow not being there, will have an impact on the business flow. And since these cars will be less on the road, there will be a positive impact for whatever business resides in the insurance company's books as well. So I think it was important to sort of share this thought with the audience. And if you allow, I just want to quickly move over to the next question that we have, or the area we wanted to sort of touch on. And I think this is extremely important, as the customers at large out there in the market and globally as well. We are hearing a lot of information coming in that we are expecting a reduction in claims for the motor portfolio that insurance companies write. So Asad, I just wanted to reach out to you, since you are part of one of, in fact, the largest market, I would say, when it comes to this business. Just let us know, what is your expectation in terms of reduction of claims in motor insurance during this lockdown? Do you think that it will have an impact? And if so, how?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you very much, Mansaf, for inviting me alongside this prestigious panelist. And congratulations to you and your team for taking this initiative under these testing times. As far as your question is concerned, certainly we are expecting reduction in claims because we can categorize the motor claims into two broader categories. One is accidental claims and the other one is theft claims. The accidental claims certainly are going down because of this lockdown. There are fewer vehicles on the road, less traffic, so fewer accidents. So the claims are going down for accidental cases. As far as theft claims are concerned, certainly law enforcement agencies are ensuring the lockdown. The intercity traveling is closed, so there are no theft claims as well. But certainly, as this lockdown ease out, we will see the rise in claims as well. As we have already witnessed that in the first 2 weeks of the lockdown, there were claims close to zero. And as long as the lockdown is easing out, the claims are pacing up. So yes, the claims are going to be down during this lockdown.
Great, thank you so much. And I think just at the heels of this particular discussion point, Usman, if you could just put the next one, is our next area of discussion. And this is one of the areas that is impacting a lot of us out here. And I can see people even raising these questions as we speak on insurance premiums, the impact on insurance premiums. So I just wanted to sort of reach out to Hisham, yourself. What are you coming across requests for rate breaks, and how many of these cases do you really think are justified in the circumstances today?
Thank you, Numan. In fact, what we are seeing is not the request for rate breaks generally, but it's mostly about giving a break in the premium terms, giving some relaxation in the premium terms from annual to some people are requesting quarterly, some people are requesting to delay the premium by a month or till the time the lockdown is eased. So I don't think that there is any pressure on the rates right now. The pressure that we are getting right now is mostly on the premium payment terms. And as the second part of question, which says that is it justified or not? So I think in the current scenario, when we have already seen that there are no cars being produced, so the insurance companies are at an equal loss. because the premiums are not coming. And as they say that it's a business of law of large numbers. So when you will not have those numbers, then definitely there'll be some pressure on the loss ratios as well. The losses that we have seen during these days have not been more partial losses, but because of probably empty roads, we had some of the total losses that we have seen. So the severity of losses has also increased during these times. So I think the rate breaks for the moment is not justified. The motor rates are already very at a rock bottom. So in the private vehicles and both in commercial vehicles, the rates have already gone too low. And on the contrary, the spare parts prices, because of the dollar impact, has gone up. The labor rates have gone up. So the per claim cost has also risen substantially. So my
Thank you
view
so
is
much.
that the rate breaks are currently not justified, and we are not receiving any major requests in this regard.
Okay, that's great to know. And just on that particular point, you already touched a little bit in your particular market around the terms. Just quickly, if Dr. Saab, if you could sort of add in your experience in terms of requests for the for the flexibility in premium payments on that particular point.
Yes, in our market in Islamabad, basically the most of the people, they are not from the business fraternity. Most of the people, they are from service industry. They are in jobs. So in individual cases, we did receive some requests, and we considered their request for the delayed premium for 1 month, or premium to be deposited from by two checks, or to further delay for 2 months. So not many, but a few requests came. But I anticipate that in days to come, more requests from the individual customers will come, and we will consider, and we are already considering their requests. We will consider on case-to-case basis, and if there are no previous issues, no previous outstandings, and there is smooth claim history, and there is no such things in the system, then we can definitely have their help, and we will consider them. In corporate clients in Islamabad particularly, we did not receive any requests so far, because in corporate side, most of the time, the premiums are paid in quarterly. But in Faisalabad, we did request, even the payment was on quarterly basis. We did receive one request that if they could delay the check for 20 to 50, 25 days. So we granted the permission to the customer, and the customer deposited the check and asked us to get it cleared from the bank much before than the required time. But
Sure.
I can see that in future these requests will increase, and we have already considering the request.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Saab, for your inputs on that particular note. Just to on that particular point, I think business in general has gone down. We understand that the new sales have gone down. Retention also, since I manage this line of business, I've seen retention also has seen a stress and strain, from the motor insurance perspective. I wanted to reach out to you, Tahir Saab, and ask you whether, with these challenges at hand, do you believe the market at large will witness some level of softening, in the near future?
Thank you, Noma. Yes, the short answer is yes. In the short run, we will see a softening of the market in the traditional terms. We have to understand, the question in a wider context, that it's not just, the hard and soft cycles in insurance. They were, I believe, a thing of the past. Now, the reason I say this is because these days now we are talking about usage-based insurance. We are talking about behavioral, underwriting on behavioral aspects of driving. We're talking about underwriting based on the makes and models of cars and where these cars are being used, which cities, which places are they being used to commute, are they being used for social and pleasure purposes. So, with all those data points that we have, I believe the old notion of a soft or a hard market as far as motor is concerned is rather gone. uh, we know that we can now, measure the behavior of the customer. For customers which are behaving well, for customers where the claims history is better, for customers where we know their car usage is low, and even when they use it, the way they drive the car, the way the family drives the car, is better and is more civilized, if I can use the word. Then for them, the market will always be soft, because insurers would love to have them on board. Insurers would love to, work with such customers. Similarly, on the other side, if we see a spike in claims for certain customers due to their behavior or due to the fact that they reside in certain, in certain areas, or they are using their vehicles, for example, for rent-a-car business, or for ride sharing, or for things that make them much more risky, then obviously the market for such customers will remain hard. And the same would apply to the corporate fleets. The fleets which give us a behavior which is much more acceptable to us and is, and is less prone to claims. The market would be soft for them, and we, of all people, would love to have them on board. And we would not want them to leave us just because of a few points in pricing. On the other hand, there would be customers which no insurance company would rather pick up. So I believe the whole notion of this soft and hard market is going to change in the coming few years. It has already started to change for us with our IGI Drive initiative. The fact that we are already servicing a number of customers based on their behavior. I believe it's a matter of how the customers behave rather than how the markets rate the risk on a general level.
Great. I think that's really insightful. And I'd like to sort of link it up, Swan, if you can go for the next slide with, with the area that we wanted to share with you about usage-based being mainstream. And as you said in your conversation, it's the thing of the past, how we kind of reflect on the softening of rates. And I think, IGI has, been at the forefront thanks to the support and trust vested in us by the group and the sponsors, that we were able to sort of venture out and start working on this initiative, of usage-based insurance with the birth of IGI Drive last year. We are still in the process of seeing the demand swing that side. But I think what we are witnessing now, and I'll go through these points with you. What we are witnessing right now in globally on motor insurance is a lot of insurance companies that I've come across or I've heard about, supposedly have went out and given out discounts. Now, it's something that's that's very interesting for any customer. But interestingly enough, there has been research done on these discounts that were given out by these global players, whether it's AXA or anybody else for that matter. And, the question arose in those research, whether these discounts that were offered were really on a fair assessment basis. Okay. And interestingly enough, these customers who received the discounts from these global insurers did not stick to those discounts only. And interestingly, they went out and searched for more discount. So while the insurers in good faith and in the support for the customers went out and gave discounts to ensure that there was loyalty built in, but these customers didn't stay and stay happy with that kind of discounts, and they ventured out to even seek higher discounts. So this is basically this is basically why it's important to have a fair assessment, a fair basis, transparent basis, where you can look at the customer eye to eye and tell him that, look, this is why we believe this discount, applies to you, and this is why it doesn't apply. So, this is where we believe that usage-based insurance, pays as you drive, pay how you drive, this aspect of product underwriting is what we believe is the new way, and it's been functional in European and American markets, and the recent research in the last 2-3 weeks points to the fact that there has been a 40% increase in demand of UBI insurance, because a customer also understands that, look, if I'm going to drive less, if I'm going to drive better, I deserve to have better rates, not just, a flick of the button, 10% off reduction on premiums. So this is where, the insurance industry is now focusing on. And this is the transparency we are working to build into our portfolio. And I've already started to do that with certain segments of the market. And we will be, spreading this across various other segments during this year. So, at IGI Drive, basically, this pricing mechanism is what we are working to perfect and pass it over to our customers. And I believe with this initiative and, with a challenge like this, I think we will have a transparent edge on the retention discussion with our customers. So if we can move over to the next slide, I would request Usman, who's my colleague and heads my our IGI Drive tracking operation, to quickly go over some of the aspects of what IGI Drive does, and some of the aspects of how we believe it has impacted, for example, the corporate sector. We already seen impact, and about individual, how we believe it's going to be impacting. So over to you, Usman, for a quick check on this, please.
Thank you so much, Naman. This is this area that we've talked about, and the things that have been highlighted by Tahir Saab and you. This is really exciting, and this is in insurance industry. So basically, as highlighted by Tahir Saab, things are going to change. You see, this new normal. This is bringing a paradigm shift in everything. So people are looking at business with a new perspective. So as you see, the work from home kind of thing is increasing. So this is going to change a lot. You see, currently what happens is this rent-a-car business, this ride-hailing services, these are primarily driven by businesses. Who work, who goes to offices, who goes for meetings and all these things. So if these are going to change, and if there will be things where people will be working from home, where they would probably be asked to manage the resources on their own. So people will be shifting, the business will be shifting from maybe the corporate and the banker leasing to personal lines. People would be buying personal insurances. They would be managing their expenses on their own. So when that would happen, then is the time that we need to have a product line which is driven by what you have been highlighting in the last slide, the transparency thing. You see, when we go for an insurance, generally the traditional way of getting insurance is just to go and pay the premium, and neither the insurance company, neither the customer, they don't know what is going to happen in the next year. So the customer gets relaxed that, okay, I've paid a premium and now I can just, I can, my car, I can be assured that, okay, if it is not even used correctly, I have my risk covered. So with this tool that we have, we provide a wonderful analytical portal to our customers, which gives all the details regarding its journey. It rates the trip, and it tells what events you have done regarding harsh braking, harsh cornering, which leads to partial losses that Asad mentioned because of accidents. And then because of theft, you would know. These are the tools that provide you with that transparent the transparency to both to the insurer, both to the customers, that okay, how you're driving, what should be the right premium for you, and what are the risks involved. So basically, with IGI Drive, by investing into this, I mean, we are experimenting with this, and I mean, and of course, there are different segments in the market, and there are different age groups. So right now, what we're doing is, I'll first go right now what we're doing right now. So right now, what we're doing is we're serving three major segments. One is banca, the other is corporate, and third one is individual lines. So for banca, the main concern is regarding the location of the vehicle. They want to, if the customer doesn't pay, they want to repossess the car. They want to see where the car is moving and just be aware of it. And if it doesn't go out to too many non-GSM areas or areas which are prone to theft or these kind of things. So we have the facility in our portal where we raise an alarm immediately and tell, okay, this car is visiting areas which is theft prone, which are non-GSM areas. So I mean, we have mapped the area and we know exactly what are the risks involved according to the customer's movement. So banca is, the market is very happy. They are very happy with the portal that we have developed. Then the customers on, I mean, of course, in banca, the customer is not so much concerned about the visibility, but generally banca is, this is how we serve them. Then the second one is the corporate customers. So for corporate customers, this portal, this gives a huge flexibility. They can know, I mean, for their cost of ownership of these assets and for bringing efficiencies in their operations, they can see how the assets are being utilized. They, for example, have given you a graph here which shows how, I mean, this is primarily for done for the forklifters that we have in one of our corporate clients, so they can see how much are they being utilized, because this is something, the asset is being utilized over 24 hours. So we can see that, okay, what is the utilization, how much time it is being standing idle, just consuming fuel. So I mean, so the corporate customers, they get detailed reports on trips, which can calculate their expenses, the way their assets are being used, are they being driven safely or harshly, or how much is the usage, when is it time to change, do the maintenance with the cars. So that is the reports that we get for the corporate customers. Then when we come to the individual customers, what we've given is a free mobile app. So now this segment, as I discussed earlier, the paradigm shift, this transparency thing with the insurer, this would become a great thing. You see, generally the new millennials, the younger generation, which is going to be the next big market for us, they worry about these kind of things. They always look out for discounts. They want to see that, okay, how can they can save their cost. So they go out and try to negotiate, and then when they have this kind of visibility, they can control they can see that, okay, insurer knows that, okay, how am I driving and how my trips are going. They can, even if they have kids and if they have drivers, they can sort of monitor them. So as an insurance provider, I mean, this is the benefit that the customer gets, and they can go and negotiate with the insurer. And now what benefits do insurer get? You see, with this type of tools, we would generally come and have the customers who are aware, who likes safe driving, who likes to where there's a lesser risk of claims. So for us, and this gives this benefit, that this you will have will have a saving in terms of cost. And then this kind of tool, because once the customer understands that there is transparency, you will build loyalty. And then with this kind of tool, you can go and cross-sell. You can go and tell them that, okay, we can do some IoT in your home, and we can put some devices there, and we can monitor your other assets. Like if there are generators there, if there are different other equipments, like where refrigeration is important, or where like different cooling is important, or different lighting, or other camera monitoring is important. So we can do all this with one this platform. So with this, I mean, this is how we are providing. We have driven this, developed this platform for this UBI opportunity. Now, regarding the question, based on what are the challenges, you see, the first challenge that we have met, we have already invested. Coming into this for any insurer, there's some investment involved into this area. So, with thanks to our shareholders and our investors, that they have already put money into it, and the sponsors have really been encouraged to go into this insurtech area. And so this really helps platform where will not only will be able to gain benefit out of it, but once we have developed this database, because you see, data is money, data is gold for the next market. So we can even go and monetize this. So you at some years down the road, we will see some consortiums coming up, some insurer panels getting developed, where they would go and they would seek the reference for the customer, maybe the vehicle, and they would ask that, okay, what kind of scores do you have? And then we can monetize that data that we've already have already recorded from these customers. And even the customers, they know that, okay, they have some history, like the way we use our credit cards, and we go and tell that, okay, I have a very good credit rating. So similarly, that data, once we have developed that data, can be monetized. So there's a huge market for that. And thanks to we are really into this area, and this is a really exciting area for insurance business.
Okay, thank you so much, Usman, for your inputs on here. And I must say that it is definitely an area that gives a lot of transparency and provides support both to the insurer and the insured in terms of fair pricing and experience premiums that we can justify, or they can actually accept and build the loyalty going forward. Just on that particular point, I just wanted to mention that our intention when we sort of roll this out on a mass scale is not just to sort of just use the usage patterns to reduce premiums. We also plan to sort of build loyalty with them for the good drivers. So that's something that we plan to do, and I think it's important that some kind of engagement is kept with the client to build the loyalty on a longer term basis. I'll quickly move over to the last area we wanted to discuss before I try to sort of go over the questions that we have. We just went through the stuff that overall vehicle utilization has tremendously gone down, and IGI Drive for us is a platform that not only allows us to view the asset, it also allows us to reduce partial losses as well as theft. This is where from a safety perspective, we have a full-fledged team who looks after vehicle safety while it is parked, while it's on the road, and our safety outfit protects your assets while you're driving it or otherwise. And we wanted to share with you our experience on what we found in the last few days. Our vehicle alerts, panic alerts, that what the industry calls the SVR, meaning the stolen vehicle recovery alerts, they have multiplied during the 45 days of the lockdown, and they were more, or they were much more higher than the rest of the year. So, if, for example, let's assume that there were 100, or let's assume there were 50 alerts for, say, from January to mid-March, we had roughly around 150 to 200 alerts for only these 45 days, okay? I wanted to reach out to our security expert, Major Ikram, and I wanted to understand from him what were the main reasons behind this massive increase and how did his team help to address them. Over to you, Major Sab.
Thank you very much, Numan Sab, and Assalamu alaikum to everyone. Of course, the panic alerts doubled nowadays. The reason is that during lockdown, movement of the vehicle is minimized in huge number and mostly not being in use for a long time, which result batteries become weak, which lead to the SVR alert increment in shape of power disconnect, battery tempering, towing, and movement with ignition off. Now, question raised here: how we are addressing these alerts? There are few strategies which we are adopting nowadays in lockdown situation. First of all, we immediately, in case of alert, we immediately contact to the client and educate them that they should have charged their battery or to replace the battery. It depends upon the condition of the battery. Second, we help technically to our client if he is feeling some kind of problem in handling the technical things. Then we discuss with them and provide the technical assistance. And if where he needed our help on physical ground, then we approach to them. Third, after immediately and timely coordination with the customer, if it is found that it is a sold out and a financial dispute case and vehicle is not with its original owner, then our investigation start, because the vehicle is now entering in the white collar crime, in which vehicle vanished in between sold out or in financial dispute matters, and claim comes to the insurance company and bank in shape of financial loss. Nowadays, alerts are increasing. The reason is that the vehicle are not in using. Most of the time, people in this lockdown situation try to stay at home. Now, the third part of this conversation is that we inform back immediately that vehicle is a sold out case and financial dispute case, so bank can start action on his side to save the assets. On the other hand, in this white collar crime, we start investigation from our side to reach the original keeper that time. Sometime tracker cut off or dismount by the second or third or fourth keeper between their financial dispute. So we move physically on ground to explore or investigate the chain of disputes.
Sure. So basically, it's a combination. So basically, if I understand you correctly,
Sure.
Ikram, this is a combination of both offline and on ground, support that you've provided in these days. So just based on that, have you actually come across an increase in the real theft cases during the lockdown, or there has been a decrease in the real theft case? And the reason why I'm saying real theft is a theft that is, truly a theft and not a white collar crime. So, have the real thefts increased?
No. Due to the, it is not increased, but it comes very down. The reason is that due to all boundaries of province, cities are monitored by law enforcement agencies completely throughout by checkpoints and by police pickets 24/7. Cause is that the surprise decrease in the vehicle theft. In my earlier discussion, I also explained that these theft or snatching crime is converting in the white collar crime. Like this, the above theft or snatching vehicle scenarios is nowadays converting in white collar crime in shape of financial dispute by sold out of vehicle to so many dealers in different vehicle markets of the country. During that dispute, the vehicle vanished and the claims comes to the insurance company and the banks. This is nowadays happening in the market.
So basically it is so it's basically more of a white collar related incident than the real theft, if I understand you correctly.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your inputs on that, Major Ikram. I can see that we have touched 2 o'clock. We wanted to sort of quickly go over, some of the audience Q&As. I've got, a list of questions that are here, and I'll sort of, reach out to, this first question. I've got a question from somebody who's talking about UBI being, an amazing initiative. So Fahad, just for your perspective, yes, UBI is, it is a really amazing initiative for all of us, for the industry at large, worldwide as well. The adoption is increasing. So what needs to be understood is that this particular product or this particular solution will take some time to get the adoption really increased up. So we've started with some segments, primarily corporate, and we have started to sort of test our findings with them. When it comes to individual sector, we do intend to create the product awareness through our IGI Drive platform, through our motor platform, and obviously, since this is a new thing in the market, we do expect it'll take some time for the adoption to increase. Nevertheless, what we have been thrown into in the last 2 months, it basically shows us that we will come across a scenario where we have to look at alternative products as well, because these alternative products are the ones that will allow the insurers to be able to reach out to a different segment that today finds it doesn't have a solution available for them. So I think we will be creating the awareness as we start hitting the individual segment, and you'll see more of that during this year. And just keep in mind, as what Usman mentioned, data is the key, and primarily this being the actual gold. We need to have real credible data to start working on solutions like this. So hence, you will see us roll out these solutions during this year, and hopefully this will be able to benefit the market. I've got some other questions here, for example, again, there's a lot of queries around rates, and I think the audience believes that they kind of see that the rate softening is available, and believe that there may be some impact on rates. I just wanted to have your inputs, Asad, on this. In your particular market, because Karachi is the largest market as well, have you seen rate-related pressures on your market when it comes to individuals and corporates?
Thank you, Mansur. Currently, in a short answer would be no right now. But certainly, when the market opens up after this lockdown, certainly there will be fewer policies available, fewer vehicles available to insure, and obviously market is open to everyone. So we would be witnessing pressure on rates, but certainly we have to cope it up with some additional features like you have mentioned, and we are going to take care of it like that.
Okay.
Noman, if I may,
yes, please. Yes, please.
if you allow. I think, I've seen quite a lot of questions, as you've pointed out, on rates. I think it comes from, the general, we are a connected world nowadays, and whatever happens in the UK or US has a repercussion here in Pakistan as well. But we have to keep our context in mind. While the rates have softened, and they are, the markets are so quick to react that in the UK, US, and many other jurisdictions where actually vehicle insurance is properly implemented, everybody who's out on the road is insured, the markets are so sharp that they've already taken care of that softening of the market by giving a discount to the customers in their monthly direct debits, in their monthly payments, or they've told the customers that they'll insure them for another month, which effectively is a 8 to 10% discount on your premium. The trouble is, if we look at that and then we try and apply it in Pakistan, the context is entirely different. Our insurance penetration is 1/10 of what it is in the region. And when region includes countries like UAE, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and India. So the insured population in this country is very small. Most of the vehicles outside, they are not insured at all. The insured population itself, yes, we will see a drop in claims. We are witnessing that. And because of that, we are reaching out to our customers at the time of their renewals, and we will try and obviously give them a discount. But it's not going to be as big or as widespread as jurisdictions in the UK or US. That's a completely different market. So, the ideas that we are getting on the internet from other markets, we have to filter them according to the context of the Pakistani market. Because of that, yes, the market you will see across the world softening, but you will also see that it is very, very contextual, and the amount of discounts being applied would depend on the individual country and individual markets situation. Thank you.
Sorry, just while you're there on this particular point, there is a general question out here with regards to impact on premium intake on the retail insurance business, generally speaking, whether it's like travel, or motor or any other miscellaneous retail business. So from your vantage point, what have you seen that kind of an impact on the business at large with IGI?
Again, I think most of the panelists have hinted to the fact that we are physically closed, and more importantly than us being physically, than our own physical closure is the closure of workshops, is the closure of 3S dealers, and overall the motor industry. Also the closure of airlines, flights to and fro within the country and internationally. So, these are two areas of our business which obviously are hit because there is no new, vehicle sale activity. There is hardly any new insurance from individuals. The same thing applies to the portfolios that we get from the banks. If the banks are not able to sell the vehicle, lease the vehicle out because there are no vehicles to be bought, then obviously we are going to see a reduction there as well. And we have seen that. And I think across the board, most companies have seen that. Similarly, travel insurance has been hit. It's virtually zero in the month of April because, again, who would buy travel insurance when there is nowhere to travel to? So flight insurance, flight cancellations, the people who are doing business with the aviation industry in general, as in insuring the hulls, insuring the personal accident of passengers, they are going to get hit. They are already being hit. So we are very much part of the whole economy and very much tied to the economy. So when the economy slows down, we are bound to slow down. We are bound to see a reduction in our own premiums. And again, I think there are various sort of analysis available out there that this reduction, how soon we'll be able to actually make it up. Would it be a V curve where we have a sharp decline and then a sharp increase in in the uptake of insurance as the industries open? I mean, we've seen in textile industry, in the local textile industry, that the likes of Khadi and other retailers, they were shut for a month, so zero sales. But now that they've opened, there's a sudden rush to sort of buy goods. So for them, it's more like a V curve where there was a sudden drop and a sudden increase now in sales. For other industry participants, it might not be as sharp. So the question is still out there. We have to look at the overall economic scenario, how it turns out. If it is going to be a V or a U, then we'll see that we'll be able to make up our premiums in the coming few months. If it is going to be, how should I put it? An L curve or a curve that that is drawn out in time, then we as insurers are also going to suffer.
Okay, thank you so much, Tarsa, for your inputs. I've got one question, and I think partially it has been answered earlier as well. That we've tried to sort of maintain as much online presence as we could during this tough time, and we've all been working remotely. So Hisham, this question I want to reach out to you for this. For premium payment collection, we've done premium payment collection through online mechanisms. We have allowed that, and to facilitate the customers. So there's a question specific to transparency. Maintaining the transparency at the time of premium collection, i.e., who is paying for that premium, at that time. So are we able to sort of control that or monitor that, Hisham?
Yes, I think what we have done is that we have done two things. One is that we have provided an online cover note portal, so anyone can go online. If you have a new vehicle, you can just go on our website and buy that motor insurance right away by paying through credit card. So it's all very, very transparent. And on the other hand, the payments that we are collecting from customers is mostly through the online channels during this lockdown period. So the bank details of IGI are provided, and we are avoiding any, most of the time we are avoiding any cash collections. So most of the payments are collected through the online accounts of IGI, and it's largely been very, very smooth. So we haven't had any problems of transparency or any inefficiencies in the premium collection during this lockdown period.
Okay, thank you so much. I also see there's a question specific to different usage patterns that has been mentioned over here about parking related insurance for vehicles. So, just to respond to that, I think the more information we are able to collect about usage in this market, and the more credible that information is, we will be rolling out different products, to cater to those market needs, whether that particular market need is for an individual's private insurance, or whether it is to do with ride hailing, or it's to do with the parking related stuff. It's all something that we will probably be able to shed more light on as we trudge along this path. As of now, as I mentioned earlier, the first segment that we have started to work on is corporates. The next one is individual, and I think certain alternative industries, the gig economy primarily, is going to require specialized products which are purely usage based. Okay. So yes, we are keen to explore that. Yes, we have ventured out to even discuss with certain companies on the gig economy side to serve them or to offer them a product which is purely for the ride, during the ride, and the premiums are charged only for that. So there are products that we have built, we have even quoted, we have gone out to the market, and we are ready to sort of address them. How much would the reach increase in the coming days? I'm not sure I can answer that right now, but our flexibility to address event-based insurances is very much there, and I think our telematics division is has been built on that pretext itself. So we certainly would be providing those solutions. I've got some questions around the new cars, some of the new cars that are out here. So Asad, for you, this particular question, Kia and we have got Toyota Yaris as high-end value vehicles. Do you think that these vehicles being launched in this market, would they support the insurance companies in terms of building business volume, or you will be squeezed on rates on that side as well?
Thank you very much. Certainly, whenever a new model comes in, it gives boost to the sales of vehicles. That's we have seen in the past. And these two models, they are certainly going to put in some fresh air in the business. And we will witness some rise in the business overall. Because people who want to buy these kind of high-end vehicles, they are going to go out for it. They are not going to hang back. Obviously, some of the people are going to hit by the economic slowdown, and their purchasing power is going to hit certainly. But overall, the kind of people who buy these kind of vehicles, it will certainly help us, and it will increase.
Okay, thank you so much on that, Asad. I'm going to take the, in the interest of time, I'm going to take the last question. I'll request Tahir Saab yourself again for this question, because this is a very important one, and this really needs to sort of bring in the confidence in our audience viewing us today. Have you come across, or what, or how do you foresee the claim settlement process? Has that been negatively impacted through COVID-19, or has IGI been ahead of the curve in terms of settling its claims?
Numan, in as much as IGI is concerned, I'm so glad that we were already geared up for this. The business continuity planning that we had done in the past, our IT processes, the infrastructure that we have, and all of this has actually crystallized into something that I'm really proud of. There has not been a single day where we haven't been able to get in touch with our customers, or our customers haven't been able to get in touch with us. Our phone lines are working, and most of these lines are then connected. The call center are connected remotely to people working from home. We are taking all the calls that come through. Our call persistency has been very, very good. Our response to our customers, I haven't received a single complaint through any channel about the response time and about the claim settlement. While we also have to take into account the fact that some of the workshops, in fact many, for the first few days of the lockdown were totally shut. So I can understand if customers weren't able to collect their vehicles or not get their vehicles repaired. But other than that, we've had fire insurance claims, we've had travel insurance claims, we have had marine insurance claims, and all of these have been settled adequately within the time stipulated. And again, I'll just like to reiterate that we are available 24/7 through our call centers. Our health claims, our health helpline has done very well. The health side, we've received tremendous amount of queries on COVID, and we have been answering them. We have obviously paid claims on the health side as well. On the life insurance side, again, because it's a sister concern, and some of our team members work jointly with them. So it's across the board. I can assure our customers that we are there for them. And if there is anything that they'd like to see in our services improved, anything that any feedback would be more than welcome. Again, we can have this offline from people who look at the recordings of this webinar. Our claim helplines are open, and I can say that for every region: Islamabad, Lahore, and Karachi. And I believe we are on the right track in as much as the new normal is concerned, where we envisage a lot of remote working, and where probably the physical interaction with the customer would be quite low.
Thank you so much. It was really helpful to sort of shed that light on our service levels, and this is what really keeps us alive in this business. I just wanted to thank all of you, the panelists, to have taken the time out to join us, to share your experiences, your thoughts, and your observations. And a special thank you to all the attendees. I've seen a tremendous surge in attendees, and being the first session, it's really it's really a positive influence for all of us going forward. And as I said earlier, I think this is not the end of it. This is the first session that we have. We have a series of these sessions happening on a weekly basis from now onwards on various topics. The first series I've already shared with you. It's not going to end there. We're going to have a second series as well. And I think it's important to keep our conversation alive with all of you out there in the market, and please feel free to share your suggestions at the end of this webinar, either on the social media or otherwise. Drop us a line. We are here to sort of listen to you and incorporate whatever we can. A huge thank you to my team, Usman, Jahangir, and Madiha, who have been really instrumental in helping us roll this initiative out. I don't want to say these are not the unsung heroes. They are the sung heroes. They have done a lot for us, and you will see more of their inputs, inshallah, going forward in the next sessions to come. So on this note, I would like to sort of close this conversation. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining us, and have a very good day. And inshallah, see you in the next session.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.